have been working in development and nonprofits for many years, and I have never known the PSOJ as it is today, which is very engaging, very collaborative. You know, CVSS, we've been a member of PSOJ for many years, you know, we now participate in meetings, and, you know, we're able to come in and really talk about social issues. So I think it's a different PSOJ, and it shows that there really is this need for collaboration, and that collaborations can work. If we can continue on that, if we can continue with, Keith would call it public-private, and I always said public-private social partnerships, right? And it really is about, you know, the private sector, the public sector, and social sector, then I think we'll do really well. But the other issue, accountability and transparency, have to stay at the fore. The COVID Fund had a couple of objectives. There was a couple of areas we really wanted to support. We wanted to address food insecurity, and we wanted to be able to support access to health services and PPE gear. Remember, at the time, this was the start of the COVID crisis, and, you know, we really had a dearth of PPE for frontline workers, healthcare workers, and communities. So we, at the end of the fund, we had been able to mobilize 200 million in resources from the private sector, 131 million in cash, 69 million in kind, and we were able to deliver lots of different kinds of support. So we were able to distribute 73,000 food packages, and these food packages had food that, you know, really could last a week or two. We were able to distribute 60,000 masks. We were able to deliver 10,000 meals, kitchen meals, and really at the end we were able to benefit about 93,000 Jamaicans. And again, we reached over 60 communities. We worked with over 60 NGOs and community organizations, and we're really able to make an impact with groups that needed support during this time, especially to support their own beneficiaries and their own target groups. You know, I've always known that communities are resilient. People in communities are resilient. I think, you know, what we were able to do, because we kept going back every 2 weeks, is we were able to really build relationships and really strengthen bonds with communities. I think that was important. And the JCF was able to do that because they were the main ones doing the distribution. So that was really exciting. I think for me, my biggest learning was just the willingness of people, agencies, companies, communities to come together when it matters enough. You know, and when it matters enough to all of us, we're able to really achieve amazing things together. And I think that was, for me, one of the most wonderful parts of really what happened with the COVID Fund, was that sense of the shared purpose and this very clear goal, and everybody moving in the same direction. I absolutely loved it, and I think, you know, it was, for me, it was soul food, working on being on the COVID Fund and doing all that work. And it was exhausting, because we worked non-stop. We did this non-stop to try and get it going. So for the first 2 months, there was no Saturday or Sunday or anything. But it provided that sense of contributing and being a part of the solution and not just waiting. So, you know, I think, first of all, that it doesn't matter what situation somebody's in, you can always treat people with humanity, right? If that's at the core of what you do, is, you know, you talk to people with respect. There were, you know, we had to go in sometimes with photographers because, again, people that are donating, you need reporting and transparency. You need to show what you're doing. You know, we made sure that we didn't take pictures of people in their nightgowns or, you know, people in a terrible state, that we made sure that, you know, it was a lovely lady at her gate who came to collect her package, and, you know, she felt really proud of herself. We asked if we could take photos and that sort of thing. But generally, you know, I don't think that people saw it as handouts. I think that people more saw it as support, and they saw it as people caring. Again, the JCF was able to build relationships. The NGOs that we worked with already had the relationships with those groups, and so it was really about that sense of there is support, and there are people looking out for each other and looking out for you, and I think that worked. But if at the core of everything you do is about humanity and respect, then, you know, I think you can never go wrong, regardless of a person's situation.
The private sector organization of Jamaica invited United Way of Jamaica to come on board to manage the financial portfolio of the fund. So we have had several years of experience. The organization is 36 years old, And we have had the experience of mobilizing resources, allocating the resources, providing technical assistance to projects that we support, and also providing fulsome reports to our donors. So we do have a strong track record of managing financial resources for the voluntary sector. Well, our work covers the whole island, and we do work in volatile and vulnerable communities, so it was not strange for us. And we are on the mobilization side of the funds. So the projects that we support, they're the ones who would be located within communities. And so we enable them with resources to carry out that work in their communities. So for us in this collaborative effort with the PSOJ and the Council of Voluntary Social Services, we receive the funds from the donors locally and overseas. We established separate bank accounts. We had signatories established with the PSOJ United Way. And then on a weekly basis, we reported to the Oversight Committee on the funds that were received in the accounts. And when they started the distribution of those funds, we would prepare the checks based off the invoices or requests that come in from the Oversight Committee to the PSOJ on a weekly basis. We do have a very small staff at the United Way Secretariat, but we do have an accounting program in place to facilitate that. We have a wonderful accounting officer, and I want to call his name is Anthony Brissett, very brilliant young man who willingly worked long hours to make sure that all the requirements are met. And of course, the United Way of Jamaica is about its volunteers. So we were integral in the whole oversight of this collaborative effort. We sat on the Oversight Committee, we were on the Allocations Committee, we were on the Communications Committee, and our whole team at the Secretariat supported the work that was happening. Let me tell you, for me, what stood out, when they started the distribution in the communities, there were some persons from corporates, companies give, and sometimes they don't really get to the ground floor to see what is happening. And so some of them went out for the actual distribution. And they were really touched. One, they were touched by the needs that existed in the communities. And the fact that what they thought was a little was so significant to those people on the ground. But to hear them come back and say, wow, I really didn't realize that this was the extent of the need in communities. So it says that here was an opportunity to connect corporates with communities. It's not just somebody now telling you about what happened here. It's you being there to experience it for yourself. And what that does for us, well, for me as a professional in the voluntary sector, is to allow me to see again how important it is to connect donor with community. They need to have that experience so that when they give, they know that they're giving for a good cause and are encouraged to give more. Not just seeing it as charity, but seeing it as development and helping people to move forward.